everyone. The video we're going to be watching today is going to be a little bit different in the fact that it's going to be in this style that I've been doing, where it's record gameplay, have live commentary or post commentary after the fact. But yeah, this is something I want to talk about for a while now, and it's something that I'm very much excited to talk about. And that is my thoughts on essentially what's been going on in D2 in the wider community as a whole right now. There should be just some generic duality footage. So it should be a mixture of first encounter and second encounter. I have recorded the final encounter. If you guys want to see a full no commentary run of a Kaido encounter, or maybe just post commentary stuff. It's a longer video, it'll be 45 minutes or so. So if I have stuff to, or I want to ramble, I have the extra footage to ramble over rather than re-record something new. But I want to talk about a lot of things going on in D2, as well as a couple minor things up in terms of upcoming content. So we'll start with Destiny 2 mainly, because that's the topic of this video. And obviously what you're watching, mainly. I'm playing it as well right now as I'm recording this. I thought I'd address a few things, just in terms of, like, my thoughts on certain pieces of hot topics. Or, they're cold topics now, but they're still kind of hot topics at the same time. The first thing that I might as well address are my thoughts on Divinity, and just in general how it feels as somebody who is probably of the minority of casual players who basically just want, I don't want to say I'm like full casual where I don't care about the game, but I am pretty casual to the point where I am the kind of person to say, if Divinity's going to make this go faster, let's use it, kind of thing. Essentially, my thoughts on it is I do understand where people come from when people say it feels borderline required, and it almost feels like you're throwing if you're not using it. Hell, during this run of Duality, during the final boss encounter with Kaido, I was using Div the entire time, and I still, like, here are the damage stats just for curiosity, if you're curious. Yeah, I did, like, still did a decent amount of damage with Div, and both of my teammates, Iridian and Vading, were using Storm Chasers that they got in the Vault encounter, and the secret chest after the fact, so lucky them. But when it comes to as a whole, I definitely think it has a place, but I do understand where people are coming from when they say it feels very overpowered and very almost borderline required. It does a lot to help out players who are impaired or have a disability and stuff like that, and I think that part of it needs to stay, for sure, obviously. But I think something that they could do to alleviate it is to always make the crit spot still more valuable to hit, but make the duality bubble be less than the crit damage. So it gives you a crit spot to pop all of your perks like triple tap, 4 times, stuff like that, but it doesn't do as much as an actual crit. So let's say, for example, let's look at Kaido, or no, actually, let's look at Avarok, one of my favorite bosses from Grasp of Avarice. If you're using Sleeper, you do about 80k damage per shot, right? If you hit Avarok in his big old head, excuse me, I have the hiccups. If you hit Avarok in his big old head with Sleeper Simulant, with its Catalyst, that doesn't really change damage, but you get the idea. It does about 80k damage, and it hits like a truck. And I have done access to Divinity, but let's say with Divinity, you're doing, like 85k, right? So you're doing a little bit more damage against the Divinity bubble, but you're getting a larger crit spot, right? What if Divinity was about 70k damage, so you're still doing equivalent damage to the boss, a little bit less, but you're still getting the equivalent of a crit spot and the larger crit area. You're just doing less damage per shot. So it's not a huge jump in, like, decreased damage. Maybe instead of 80, it's 60. Obviously, it can be changed depending on the boss and the weapon. But I'm using Sleeper as a base, because that's one I did recently, because I'm usually the div most days anyway. Nowadays, because I like, I feel, it makes me feel useful. But, yeah, essentially, what if it did less damage for the sacrifice of a crit spot? But you still get the benefits of a crit spot with triple tap and, 4 times a charm, or whatever perks that require you to hit crits. Like Focus Fury, you still can pop Focus Fury, and stuff like that. But the overall flat damage without a buff is like, for Sleeper on Avarok, you're doing 20k less damage, or maybe even 10k less damage. You're doing less damage per crit than what you would if you actually hit the crit. So that way it's a risk and reward kind of thing. You're getting a bigger crit spot, but you're doing less damage. And you're still able to, at the same time, like, have the ability to hit a crit spot that maybe some players can't hit, especially if you're on console like me. Because the current example of a boss that really could help with that crit spot is Atheon. Atheon's crit spot is very, very small, and if you're someone like me who sucks at aiming, having a div bubble is insanely useful. So, I definitely think div has a place in the meta, and I do think it needs to be looked at, and obviously they are planning on looking at it. I don't know when it will happen, but I really hope it's a change that will make the game still make it Divinity not required, but make it more helpful for those who still need help aiming and such. As for other things, match-made high-level activities, like, for example, Master Catch Crash. I need to watch my recording time so I don't waste too much time. Master Catch Crash is a really good example of, and I kind of like how Datto put it, having a master level seasonal activity that requires champion mods, I definitely think is a very iffy thing, because you need to make sure that the other players can, that you don't have players throwing or like joining in and not knowing what to do. So I think definitely implementing a level requirement of, like, let's say 1580 for Master Catch Crash, to be able to queue into the match-made version of it, and then you have to have champion mods equipped and stuff like that. So that way it basically makes you learn that the different content. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like Bungie wants to make sure that any loot that is obtainable can be attained by everyone, not necessarily the best of the best. Which is why I really like how Master Raids are done, because it means if you're trying to go for Adept loot, if you're that kind of person who wants Adept loot, or the Herald set for Kink's Fall or Time Lost for VOG, I definitely think it would be a lot easier for some people. For, like, raids, I think it needs to say you need 6 people. That's a very high-level activity, and you need 6 people for a raid. As well as it takes a lot of time, and to have matchmaking in it would be painful. But for, like, a seasonal activity like Catch Crash, or, like, Sundial, or, for example, whatever, I forget what it's called, but, like, the activity from Season of the Lost, I forget the name of it. But, like, that one would be really good to have a master version matchmaking for, especially with... If you're going to make it a requirement for the seal, they need to either make it 3 players, or have it be match-made. I don't understand why. I understand, yeah, it requires you need to have friends for a lot of things, but sometimes I'm a solo player. I mainly play solo. I only ever do stuff with my clan. Don't really my clan, but I only do stuff with the clan I'm in when it's like a raid or a dungeon, and even then it's like I almost always prefer to play solo anyway, because of the fact that I'm primarily a solo player. So I definitely think there is a place for stuff like matchmaking in master level seasonal activities. But I think the main thing that I want to bring up when it comes to stuff like that is I think it just needs to be either less restrictive or easier to access for the average player, so that it doesn't feel like if you're dragging somebody who is 40 levels under, they aren't getting pummeled. Like, obviously, if you're dragging somebody in who's 40 levels under and you have a team that's all on par, that's fine. But if you're doing matchmaking and you do that, you're just hurting the rest of the team. You know what I mean? So, that being said, I'm going to use the last 5 minutes of this to kind of talk about content stuff. But basically, to summarize, I think Divinity definitely has a place in the meta and needs to be tuned. How, again, I'm not 100% sure. I think it definitely could be a thing where they reduce its crit damage in exchange for still being a crit spot. Across all bosses in general, so that way it's a flat reduction rather than it be it's better on some or it's worse on others. It basically be a, hey, can you hit this crit spot or can you not hit this crit spot? So that way it helps people who suck at aiming and are also impaired in some way. And then I think the matchmaking for master level seasonal activities definitely needs to be considered. Either that or not make it required for the seasonal seal unless it is a 3-player activity. If it is a 3-player activity, I am okay with that, because 3 players, you can easily get 3 players. Getting 5 or getting 6 players together, it's 5 depending on which one you go to, because obviously you can do it with 5. I definitely think it's a lot harder to do, and I definitely think requires a lot more effort to put in. I've already done it personally, so I understand that, but use the last video to kind of talk about content for the month. I'm going to try and do a little bit more spooky stuff. I want to do Visage. I'm going to try and do I want to try and do a sort of pseudo horror story reading stuff. So if you guys have any like horror stories I can read from like Reddit or something, I don't know, maybe I want to see if I can dip my toe in something like that. I'm gonna do at least 1 episode of Visage again, because as much as that game does terrify me, I do want to try and finish it. I plan on trying to not necessarily finish Outlast 1, but I want to at least finish the main game by the end of the year, so I will try and sprinkle in an episode or 2 this month. The game terrifies me to no end, and I do not plan on playing Overwatch 2, or probably not Whistleblower, especially with how the content of that game is. And if I'm honest, I'm probably not going to finish Outlast. I really don't want to finish Outlast 1 because of how the content and how YouTube is right now with blocking content right now. So this definitely seems like it's a lot more likely than it is Outlast. And even then, I can't guarantee when it'll come up, but it should be up within the month. I'll at least get 1 video of Visage up within the month. Overwatch 2 is going to be coming out today as this going up. So I'll be recording a video for that, and that you'll be seeing with that and maybe more coming later on in the month. Plenty of Overwatch 2 content, whether it be the return of Overwatch highlights or the return of or I do a road to comp or a road to ranked kind of thing where I just do mainly ranked videos and stuff like that. But essentially, there's plenty of content on the way. I'm excited to see what's in. I'm excited for you guys to see what's in store. The 300 subscriber special. The goal is to get it up by the end of the year. I'm going to try and get it done before Modern Warfare 2, but I can't guarantee that. Obviously, Modern Warfare 2 is coming up later in the month. I have a concert to go to, again, that I'll be talking, in November. And obviously we have other games coming out, High on Life, Persona 5, Royal. Plenty of content coming, and I'm excited for it. And I'm going to make the rest of this year go off with a bang, and I'm going to try and do the best I can. So yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Last videos that I make. Follow my social media description, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. TikTok's on the description if you look me up. I should be on there. I might not be doing TikTok as much because of how they're treating creators, especially recently. But I'll see you guys next video. Last videos that I make. Join the community Discord. I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, and yeah, I've been trying to get Red Frame Father Sins, and I've gotten 1. I need 1 more. Yay.